somebody sent me a clip where him and Shannon Sharpe. I don't want to get it wrong. I don't want to misspeak about the man, but I think it was a conversation he had with him and Shannon Sharpe or somebody where he kind of said something disrespectful about black women. I forget what it was, but I do remember in the moment, I said that was a bit too far. I can't go on that platform.
Right.
If you didn't,
and you and Schulz have always had this funny relationship
because I don't know him, right? But because my time on the Breakfast Club, because him and Charlemagne have a podcast together, right?
Yeah, they're
and
free.
so Charlemagne was the first one to say, he wants you on there.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, but he got to pay, right? So then finally, when they came to me and say, okay, we'll pay, I'm like, all right, I might do this. And then I see the clip with him and Shannon, or maybe with somebody on his show.
Right.
I forget where it was, but he said something disrespectful about black women.
Yeah.
And I said, because what he said, in my opinion, cut too low. If you cut too low, I'm not bringing you my listening audience.
Yes.
I'm not saying you need it.
Yeah.
You're already doing fine.
Yeah.
But you're not going to have the benefit of mine too, and you disrespecting my community.
And both things together is what makes the explosion, right? You need heat and cold to make a tornado.
Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese.
Yeah. So when those mashups are way more powerful than just, we're doing another episode this week. No,
right.
Umar and Andrew Schulz would be a moment.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like that's a moment. And he knows
at first, right, he said they didn't pay their guests. I said, you really think Dr. Umar Ifatunde, the #1 black scholar in the world, #1 Pan-Africanist, it ain't even close, or #2 Pan-Africanist, because I'm going to give #1 to President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, right? So the #2 Pan-Africanist, #1 in the West, and you think I'm going to come and give you a conversation that we know going to go viral.
Oh, my God.
That you're going to get paid on.
A bunch of money.
And you think I'm coming for free. I said,
guess why? But guess why the expectation is that? It's because the other black scholars in those positions that you are in will charge us
and go to the white man for free. Not me. In fact, you got to pay more. You understand?
That's why we love Umar.
Most of the podcasts I've turned down have been white, and they've offered nice amounts, but I can't do it because I've seen you say and do things that to me was too deep of an aspect of disrespect that would allow me to sit down and have that conversation.
So do you think Schulz is racist? I know Schulz.
I believe all white people are racist. So that's not the question. The question is, do I think Schulz is a bigot? Right?
Yes.
Racism is what? Complete control and domination for your group of resources, opportunities, and privileges. ROP. That's it. It has nothing to do with how I feel about Loon. It has nothing to do with how I feel about Dr. Umar. You understand?
Right.
I want white people to have the advantage always when it comes to resources, opportunities, and privileges. It's not personal. It's business.
Yes.
The business of political, economic control and domination.
Yes.
That's all racism is. Bigotry is when you bring in that emotional component. Bigotry is when you made it personal. Bigotry is when you say, I not only want white people to dominate the resources, opportunities, and privileges. The reason I want them to dominate is because I think black people are monkeys. I want them to dominate because I think they are inferior. I want them to dominate because I think God invented them to be our slaves. You see that? That's bigotry. Racism ain't personal. Bigotry is.
Wow.
Is Schulz a bigot? I don't know. I don't want to misspeak on him.
Yeah, because I don't know him well, but I've been in his presence a couple times. You know, me and Charlemagne has business together with iHeart, so I've been on Brilliant Idiots, and I've been in his vicinity. I don't think he's racist, but I don't know what's going on with him.
Bigot.
Your definition of racism,
right?
I understand, so I can't.
Right. You say you don't think he's bigoted.
I don't think he's bigoted. Yes.
Okay.
So, but that's for you to examine, and that's for you to distinguish as it pertains to your feelings that approach to how you gather your information. You know what I'm saying?
And let me say this to you. A big reason why I haven't been on these popular white podcasts is because I understand racism and how it operates. No matter what you learn from me, you're not going to change your ways.
Right.
because there's no Caucasian on earth that's going to abdicate their white privilege so black people can get a fair opportunity. So for me, it's almost a waste of time to have a conversation about race and racism with white people because you're never going to change.
Yes.
You do not change racism. You destroy it. You see that? So when I sit back and I get these invitations from these white podcasters, I know what y'all want to talk about. Y'all want the Dr. Umar shock moment,
yes,
and y'all willing to pay me for it.
Yes.
That's all right. But at the end of the day, I value my time. And for me to sit down and have conversations about race and racism with people who are never going to stop being racist is a waste of my damn time.
That's a fact.
I have nothing to prove to Caucasians.
And that's, I'm telling you, man, and a lot of people talk. I feel that coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's the difference I would say between you and a Mark Lamont Hill, right? Is because in those moments, I just don't, in my heart, I don't see you excusing that behavior on any level. And
I'm not.
Even Joe Budden.
And I can't say if he did, but I'm not.
Even he works with Joe Budden at this point. Even his boss, Joe Budden, came the next day and kind of got him online. Are we good? Is what? Okay, switch it to 1080 because it probably was that. So switch it to 1080. This is still going, so we'll keep moving.